Beautiful.
Welcome to STS. Time we're going to start now. Got 30 minutes. We're going to try to limit us to for this talk today. First of all, I just want to say we were away last week. Or you were away. You were away.
I was away.
Tom is...
I was here. But not here.
You're not here. You're in Vancouver. We're taking over the schools right now. So Tom was coaching at a school last week. You're going away though.
Away.
For the holidays.
This time.
So
Sunny Florida.
Yeah, we might have some things. I might have to talk to someone else.
STS
over the holidays. But today, so this may be our last episode before the new year. But we'll see what happens. But tomorrow, after this comes out, we'll be putting up the condensed footage of the NEPC, this year's NEPC, finally.
Finally.
Yeah, that was in August, so September, October, November, December. 4 months. Not bad. Managed to chop it down so there's an hour less than what was on the live stream. A lot of people have been asking me, where is the NEPC footage, where can they find it? It's actually been up the whole time. I'm not going to tell you the link right now. We're not going to put this in this video because it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow. But it's condensed a bit. It has some extra graphics for the live scoring, so you can see exactly what everyone got as you watch through. It also has timestamps, so if you want to fast forward, although if you have not seen the whole thing, I recommend you do watch the whole thing. Anything to add there?
Yes.
Yeah?
If you're in Florida for the holidays, hit me up.
Woo!
That's all I gotta add.
All right. Also, the following week, so like I said, we might not do another STS episode, but I'm working on finishing the Ascension video starring this guy. And that is a video consisting of lots of really cool climbs that we found all across Vancouver, and Tom's excellent at
Dynamic climbs.
It's not like buildering. This is all fast stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about it. It's probably some of the best stuff I've shot and edited. So
some of the hardest stuff I've climbed.
Yeah. So it's gonna be pretty good, and that should be out before Christmas. Hopefully.
Merry Christmas.
Anyways, back to today. Cheers.
Cheers.
Air Wipp. It's kind of the last.
Air Wipp did happen.
Where we left off, and we didn't actually talk about it in the last episode. We were talking about another competition. Completely forgot that Air Wipp was happening that weekend.
Yeah. The Air Wipp. Well, we missed last week. We didn't get to talk about Air Wipp basically, so we could have, but we didn't. What was your impression of Air Wipp? As who won? What was the
Kirill
Kolesnikov. Let's say that again together. Ready?
Kirill Kolesnikov won Air Wipp.
Okay, I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah. I think he won. We both kind of tuned in at the same time. You actually messaged me that day. I was just about to tune in, and you were saying something about the live stream being down, and then got tipped off from Jace Eiley. Shout out to Jace.
Jace knows where everything is.
On top of it.
He's just on top of it. He just knows what to do when the S hits the F. Okay. So wait, who else was on podium?
It's not time. So we got Kira won. So judging by all the other runs I saw, I think he deserved to win. For the life of me, I can't remember a single thing he did. Now we don't have the footage, so I can't remember.
I know what he did. I know what he did in this first run. His first run, he did a double side, and then he did a bunch of other tricks.
Yeah.
I can't. There's no memorable moment from his run in the final that I can even think about. I know he did some kind of some of those touch the side of the wall twist things. I don't know if that has a name. Yeah, he did a lot of moves. I'll give him that. He did a lot of moves.
Yeah, I'm left with this impression that I remember, and this is kind of reflecting to 2 weeks ago, not looking at the footage again. Remember him doing a lot of pretty high level stuff and connecting it, and not kind of wasting his time on the courses. Some of the other guys just seem to get lost or didn't have a really good plan going in. He seemed to hit everything clean, and that was enough.
I see. It's these formats that I know you don't. Yeah. So these formats, so Art of Motion, Air Wipp, they're tending, again, I think they're tending to reward people who just do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of moves. And with Kyria, you said that he connected things pretty well. I actually disagree. I don't think he connected things pretty well. I think
with the recollection I have, I can't argue.
Based on I don't know. Who knows? Who knows anyway? Like, it's not anywhere online that you can watch it again. Maybe the winning runs are somewhere on Facebook. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my recollection was that he was moving quick. He was doing a lot of moves, but his actual transitions were not there. And that's what I really, really want to see more of in a competition that has combo making. Yeah. And that, I think, is what they're trying to do, is make combos.
It's or even a trick combo. That's not the word combo, the word line, right?
Line, make a line, yeah. Yeah,
it has to be strung together, not with a bunch of extra, like, oh, I'm going turning this way, now I gotta turn back this way.
Oh, I finished that, now I'm gonna do a whole 180-degree turn and run back the other way to go do something else.
Yeah, and maybe there's a cool way to connect a 180-degree turn, but if it's not there, it's not there. I think actually a good example, and this is funny because usually we're on here talking about how much we love Joey Adrian. Although I don't know if you saw it, he put up a clip on Instagram the other day, and he tried to do a bunch of twisting moves, and he's like, here's I got it first try, like he's doing this thing on first try.
It was a first try line where I guess he had planned it out, and then he just tried to do it first try, and he did it all, but there's like no transitions. Yeah. It's basically not a line. It's move or one or two moves. Next, then another one or two moves, then another one or two moves. It's not a whole cohesive line.
To his benefit, I'm not going to go out there and do
you're not.
do those moves.
I can't do
There are very few people in the world that can put those moves together in any kind of sequence.
Right.
But I would love to see Joey focus on one. Sometimes he does. I think the last time we were talking about him on this show was...
he put some really nice lines.
Yeah, that he's putting stuff together where it's actually connected, but... that one was just kind of, here's some difficult twisting moves.
Well, I think the thing about Joey is that he really likes doing. Actually, I don't think he likes to refine lines.
No.
I think he likes to just get them done, and then he's like, okay, I'm bored of it. I want to move on and try something else. But when he chooses to choose like fewer twisting options, when he chooses to use his moves a little bit more linear, he can link things together really well without even trying. Like without even having to focus on it. Like he can do it first try.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I have an appreciation for his skill.
Yeah. Well, he has the ability to open up his tricks early enough to stick them and be able to move out of it.
Yeah.
That's usually like the first thing we try to teach people when they're trying to put things together, is like finish a move and stop. try to stick that move, and then you'll suddenly realize you're free to do whatever you want with it. And he just has that down to better than almost anyone else.
Well, okay, so Joey wasn't in Air Wipp, so let's stop
talking about back to Air Wipp. So other people on the podium, we have I'm sorry, who was second? I know where he's from. I don't remember his name. Sammy.
He's from Finland.
Do you have a last name?
I don't know his last name.
Okay, we're gonna get this, and I'm gonna put it on in editing.
You're just gonna write it in.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on.
Or you're just gonna dub it in.
I'll dub in.
All right. His name was Sammy.
Yeah. Sammy something.
Just hello.
You're gonna put a sign on the door.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a sign.
Yeah, that's okay. You still raised your voice.
So Sammy was. I actually thought Sammy should have won. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
I thought Sammy should have won.
I agree because of that handstand gainer. Handstand gainer. Is it a handstand gainer or is it a handstand Kong gainer?
It's referred to as handstand gainer.
Okay.
Yeah. Handstand gainer. He
had one other big move in that line.
He did a Kong gainer under the bar. He like threaded under the bar and then did Kong gainer. He did a couple other things that were incredible. Like the guy, It was relatively linked together. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, I don't think the format really rewards linking things together as much as it should. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he had an incredible run in his final, and I thought he definitely won. And then they gave it to Kyrgia. Again, I think it's just the rewarding heavy volume of tricks.
Yeah.
And, there's high difficulty there, too, but it's not the same. It's not the same. No. That handstand gainer was off something that was lower than 6 feet.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was my opinion of that.
Third is Jesse Peveril.
Jesse Peveril came third. I feel like I really don't want to say this. Mm-hmm. No, I'll say it. Yeah. But I absolutely love Jesse Peveril. I love his movement. He's one of my favorite athletes actually to watch. But he definitely did not deserve third place. I think when they announced his name, third place victory, I thought he was actually quite surprised because his run in the finals looked like it was just kind of a throwaway.
Yeah. He did a couple of dive kongs and a dive roll, and then it looked like he was setting up to do something else, and then he kind of just did a little speed run, I guess, a rail run. Like, I don't know if he had something else planned, but that didn't look like what he had planned anyways. It just...
Yeah.
It
was just a bummer because like I felt like not only is he capable of doing better as an athlete, I felt like the judges should have given it to somebody else that really was deserving of it.
Yeah, I think Zen and DK definitely had stronger lines. Mm-hmm. Nothing like super memorable, but what was super memorable about Jesse Peveril's
dive kong. The first dive kong was the only thing I can remember.
Yeah.
And then he did a dive roll, but the dive roll, it was just kind of like a drop dive roll, but it wasn't that big of a drop, and it wasn't that big of a gap. It was something that, like, I don't know, I wasn't impressed by it. The dive kong was nice, but again, it's like, I don't know, I wasn't super impressed.
Before finals, I know where this. We didn't talk about this, but. We got Pedro Salgado, who you can actually check out his run because it fit into an Instagram clip for the most part.
And everybody shared it.
So, as an outsider of this, not a judge in the competition, but that kind of tells you who should have been in the finals there.
Yeah. I don't know why he didn't make it into the finals. I thought his run was awesome. To be totally fair, I didn't get to see the runs before the finals.
Yeah.
I only tuned in during the finals. But Pedro's run was, I mean, that giant Catleap.
Yeah.
And then he went straight into that like front roll bomb, which is not easy.
No.
Like those two first moves off of the bat, like connecting it together, I thought that was that in itself is basically worthy of being in the finals.
Yeah.
Let alone whatever else he did. Pedro Salgado's incredible athlete. Again, I don't think that the format tends to reward, like, again, this art of motion style, the Air Wipp style format. I don't think it tends to reward people who are like Jesse Peveril, like Pedro Salgado. I think,
but yet it did though.
But it did. It rewarded.
So
somehow it rewarded Jesse Peveril, which again I don't think anybody really agreed that he came in third. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna like message me later and say you're a dick. But I thought Pedro Salgado deserved to be in the finals and he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. It's what's harder is dive kongs or that cat.
Yeah.
What's more memorable? What's sticking in people's heads? Mind you, I don't even know what Jesse Peveril did for his qualifier run.
Yeah, I don't either.
So maybe we're like
maybe we're just
missing the point here.
Talking out our ass. But Jesse, no, not Jesse. I wonder if the judges saw Pedro's Catleap again, because remember he did this in the qualifiers.
Yes.
Before the actual competition.
That should be irrelevant though.
Yeah, no, but maybe in their heads they were thinking, oh, he already did that. He already showed us that he could do that. We want to see more from him. We want to see the diversity of his skill, and so that played a factor in not letting him into the finals. I don't know. Whatever it was, I thought it was a mistake because it was. Maybe he didn't have a good final run planned, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about really because nobody was there. Like none of us were there. Nobody knows the format. Nobody knows what the judging criteria really was. Yeah. Nobody knows what. I don't know what their first runs looked like, so I can't really say except for Pedro's.
Yeah, I got a little bit of information from one of the competitors. So, judging format wasn't completely clear, but it definitely was more on point with Red Bull.
Okay.
So you have a judge for each quality of the run, be it difficulty, execution, flow judge.
Right.
They had a minute time limit, roughly. I think they were told 3 minutes because there was an interview after. And they could start from basically 2 points, 2 optional points. Right. But it doesn't tell me a whole lot about what sort of decisions were made by which judge because, if I'm a difficulty judge, I give Pedro Salgado one of the highest scores, and Sammy one of the highest scores because those are the 2 most difficult runs, lines, or whatever performed in the whole competition that's sticking in my head.
Even the athletes, all the athletes, when Pedro did the Catleap in his initial qualifier runs, the athletes were posting it all over social media.
Yeah.
This is before the competition actually took place. This was the qualifying competition that was like a couple days before. Yeah. Or a day before.
Yeah.
So that tells me how big that cat was, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the flaw I think we can agree on here is just with the judging, not necessarily the judges themselves, but what they're being told to do. So the job they're given,
right,
and the scope they're given. It's like, okay, I'm a flow judge. What does that even mean? Are we talking about transitions? Are we talking if they look flowy? What does that even mean? Difficulty judge. What does that mean? I would love to I guarantee you, if I talk to anyone who is a judge and I ask them, what does execution mean to you? And they'll give me one answer. I'll talk to another judge. What does execution mean to you? Another answer, right? Yeah. And that's just where we're at with parkour right now. So. Or free running, I think it's just a problem with judging format. Not necessarily the judges, not necessarily the guys that are sitting in the chairs, but with the actual format.
Yes, there needs to be some kind of standardized, agreed upon idea of what these factors are, what difficulty is, what execution is, what flow is.
Yeah.
And and what creativity is, and and whether each of those warrants its own section of judge or section, for points to be awarded.
Yeah. And here's my thing, and I try not to come off unfair or anything with this, but we look at the guys putting together Air Wipp. And all the kind of hype around this is they're doing it all themselves. They don't have any. They're not sponsored by BetSafe this time. They have control over the format and everything, and it's this kind of community event. Why are you not making up your own format? Why are you copying what Red Bull did?
Yeah.
You have all this stuff where it's your thing, and you're doing someone else's thing. And because do people actually like the format of Red Bull? Like, are we just continuing to use the same? I think it started with like the Barclay card free running competition. Like that was the first one, and that was the same format too, where it's like you have a minute and you can do as many like moves as you can in a minute, and no one trains that way still. No one tries to put together these minute-long runs. People get awarded for putting together shorter combinations. If anything, you could do more rounds if you want to see more diversity with a person, is just give them more rounds to do. But just why do we keep using this outdated format that I don't think anyone really embraced in the first place?
I'll tell you why, because it's not outdated yet. I'm serious.
Explain.
It's not outdated. No, there's no because there's been how much experimentation with it has happened yet, you know. Again, I don't want to talk about our own event too much.
Go ahead. I mean, it's the same.
But we've tried different formats. We've done like, well, I'll say two mainly different formats, but we've had other events as well, not just NAPC, but our own open competitions where we've experimented with slightly different formats, slightly different judging criteria. And I don't think it's outdated yet because, you know, nobody else out there is really experimenting with changing the format. Yeah. And I think everybody's afraid to change it. Or they just don't even think to try to do a format that's that, you know, or run an event that's not at a large scale. You know, I mean, I think that the answer is, you know, you have to experiment with these different formats. The one thing that is there has been some experimentation with, but it's very loose kind of format, is the Off the Edge tour. They did like wall comp or combo competition, right, where it was like super like basic. They had 3 judges and it was like point to the winner, you know, whatever. But how much experimentation has actually happened with this style of format? And I think it's been this much. This much, and that's why it's not outdated yet, because it just nobody's come up with a better idea yet, or, you know, we'll say that. But I did. I lost my train of thought for a second.
We'll come back. All right, that's cool.
We'll come back to that.
I just wanted to say, just again, in fairness, maybe it's too early to criticize, but not in the way that you're saying, but in the sense of at least they're putting together a competition. Yeah. At least the guys at Air Wipp, they're going all in. They got an arena. They got all these like awesome things. They got a really multi-camera live stream put up. But again, it's just these little things. Another thing to me was there was no live scoring. Yeah. So you need to understand that as a spectator, particularly someone that doesn't really understand the movement as well, but even if you do understand, you need a baseline there to go on. And even with our first NAPC, we had audio, like Frosty was announcing points and scores. Or actually, the first one we were doing the kind of breakdancing battle format, so you could see clearly who was ahead. That's so important. You know, I'm sitting there, I was getting bored watching the Air Wipp because it's like, what did that person get? Oh, on to the next one. Okay, cool. It was almost, it almost felt more like just a show. You know, because they had a little interview after, and they're both in their, you know, suits and stuff, and they're interviewing the athletes after. It just felt like this kind of a circus performance, really. Didn't feel like a competition.
So I want to stop for a second because I want to go over like what did we think? What did you think that Air Wipp did right? Okay. Let's start with that because we can criticize them all day, but they did a lot of things right, and I want to give them credit for that because they did a fantastic job with their event.
Yeah. So, the stage setup. Yeah. Awesome. It was so they had the kind of horseshoe shaped seating, risers and everything, which, you know, that auditorium were beautiful for, but it was kind of this theater setup, and I guarantee wherever you were sitting, you probably had a very good seat of what was going on. You could see everything. Yeah. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
That's cool. They did multi-camera live stream. I thought that was good. Yeah. We did that in our last 2 NAPCs, and I thought I think it's so important.
Changes the game.
It's so important for somebody, a spectator, to see at home. Like I was able to tune in just like 10:30 in the morning or whatever, just and watch it, and that's an awesome experience, and that needs to happen more in parkour. I also thought like they did like pyrotechnics and stuff like that. They made it a show. Yeah. They made it a show. It was entertaining, right? What else?
They got all the guys out.
They had those big screens.
Yeah.
Did they? Yeah, they had 2 screens on each side. So
I mean, this is all part of the venue.
But in case you couldn't even watch like the live thing, you had the camera was showing the athlete performing.
You know, obviously the live experience was something.
Oh yeah.
But again, it probably felt more like more like a show, more like a collective show than a competition.
Right.
Just because they weren't announcing scores at all, and that's number one for competitions. Like I gotta be able to keep score of this this thing going on, this game, right? And there wasn't any of that, unless it was showing up on screens that we couldn't see. But as a live viewer at home, you couldn't see that.
So when I lost my train of thought earlier, what I wanted to say, was that Air Wipp, their competition that they had 2 years ago when they held it outside.
Yeah.
It was the Bet Safe sponsored one. I was. That was actually an instance where they had to, on the fly, change the format and experiment with something new. And I was upset that they didn't stick with it.
Yeah.
Because, so like it rained during that event, and so it basically shut down most of the course. So they were narrowed down to this very fine, like sort of runway of, you know, starting top to bottom. You have to start up there, you come down. And so it was so limited in what athletes could use that it made the athletes actually be a little bit more creative, and it was judged on best combo. It was literally a best combo competition. It was no longer your best run, which may include starts, stops, and turnarounds and whatever. It was a combo starting from the top to bottom, and I thought that was one of the I thought that was very important thing to happen in the sport. When it did happen, it was an accident, because it demonstrated that athletes have to put a line together to actually do something well, or to win the event. And every athlete that I watched in that event, it was 10 to 15 seconds of them doing their line, and then they finish the bottom, and then they reach the crowd, and they're like raising their arms in the air like, yes, oh my god, I got it, or oh man, I messed up on that one move and it caused me to break momentum and I stopped my combo. I just wanted to give them credit for that. I wish they had stuck with that format for this year. Best combo is way more entertaining than do as many moves in this area as you can, and then you'll win. Because
restrictions on freestyle competition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We talk about speed competitions, and we say less restrictions.
Yeah.
Because you need to bring out that creativity. But for a freestyle competition, if you put more restrictions on the competitors, you actually end up getting a more interesting run, and it challenges them more. And it's what we do when we're training.
I think that's
if you're training and you're putting together a line of flips and stuff, you are consciously saying, I'm not going to use this part, I'm going to use this part, I'm going to use this. You create your line based on restrictions. Granted, in a competition, someone is going to give you those, going to place those on you, and it's up to you to live up to whatever restrictions they're placing on you. But that is more of what parkour freerunning is when you're putting together a line of flips and things that aren't efficient, right? You're not putting together an efficient line, you're putting together a bunch of tricks. What makes those tricks interesting is the restrictions of those moves, the restrictions around them, the tight spaces. Maybe I have to do a flip here, maybe I have to do this.
So that's a really controversial statement. I think a lot of people would hear that.
Disagree. Yeah.
I think a lot of people would hear that, and they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Restrictions. What do you mean restricting my movement? It's all about freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom. No, I mean, and I like the I don't know, the purist inside of me wants to agree with that kind of perspective, which is like, no, like more restrictions, that doesn't make a better line. What are you talking about? Like, I should be able to be creative with any structure I please in any order I please.
Yeah.
And the purist inside of me wants that, but the logical and experienced course designer now understands more restrictions on freestyle makes more sense. So we did this for NAPC.
We're not talking out our butts here. We did it for 2 competitions before. Like at Origins, we're trying to hold multiple competitions a year in both speed and freestyle.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
we did it for 2 open comps, right?
Yes.
And then we did it for NAPC. So we tested it first, and then we used it on our big format. And that's what I was talking about before, is that you have to be able to test it first before you try to unleash it to the masses.
Yeah.
I think that's why all of those... is that our alarm?
It is. Let's finish this up real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I think that was... what was I saying?
We tested it. And I don't think a lot of these other bigger events are really tested at a smaller level. They just kind of come out and do it.
Yeah. Well, that was why like the 2 TV shows that tried to be competitions failed, or 3 TV shows. There's 3 now that tried to be
failed parkour freerunning TV shows
because they didn't test it. They
3 times it's failed. We are not ready for the audience. It's not that we're never going to be ready.
Yeah,
because
there needs to be a proven format, a tested format that proves that you can figure out what's going on as an audience member. Yeah.
Parkour's not ready to go big yet. It's just not.
If you're an athlete, you really enjoy doing that form of competition. You're not just doing it because you're on a TV show. Yeah. I mean, those 2 factors are so important. And I think it's
everyone's in a rush too to make to get big with parkour
and make a buck.
Everyone's in a rush for it, and I think if you're an athlete right now, cool. Biggest thing you can do is make videos, because there's not enough competitions out there that are giving you the incentive that are going to award you with sponsors and things like that. So your biggest thing you can do is make videos, and I think it's the next generation that might benefit from being like a competitive athlete and doing things in competition. I don't think it's going to be this generation that's going to be able to get that. But if you're in this generation, you can be part of the design of things like that. You can and stop copying the same old formats and test things and try to make a competition you would want to compete in.
Yeah. I just want to see more competitions in general. More competitions that are actually changing things. I'm getting really tired of the same tired format, because if you assume that that same format is the only way, then you're completely limiting the growth of the sport.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Bottom line. Yeah. Draw inspiration forever. There might be there's worse ideas. There are worse ideas. We've done some of them.
We've done some worse ideas.
You're going to make mistakes. There's worse ideas for formats, but you need to make mistakes in order to come up with something good. So real quick before we go, you showed me a clip before we started recording here of Mich Todorovic, buddy from Montreal. I haven't seen him in over a year because he hasn't came and visited. Mich, come and visit. You said you would.
Yeah, he said he was going to come in September.
But he just did a jump in every that. The last time I saw that jump, because you were telling me about it, and I was mistaken. The last time I saw that jump was in Paul Monder's Monder, I think his last name. His documentary, his Elise documentary, where there were guys they met up and they were all doing the Catleap. It was this big deal, and and then we had to wait for another guy who wanted to do the Catleap.
Yeah, it's at height too, right? It's like these 2 brick walls at height. It's a very famous jump that has been in. David Bell's done it. All the Yamakaze's done it.
Has Catleaped it,
and they've only done the Catleap. Mich just rocks up and just does the standing precision
easily.
Lands almost straight legged.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Easily, just makes it look tiny. So now I'm kind of wondering if anyone else has done the pre.
Yeah, because it looked way too easy.
Yeah.
It looks like it's doable for any reasonably high level athlete. I mean, forget the fact that Mich is, the biggest jumper in parkour. Can we say that? Is Mich the biggest jumper in parkour?
I think we can.
Until somebody else posts a 11-2 broad jump.
Yeah.
Or 11-1 broad jump and beats his broad jump, then they can take that title. But I think Mich is the biggest jumper in parkour. But yeah, I mean, I want to go there and see that jump now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to go. I want to go and I want to do the Catleap and and see, you know, test it out.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm gonna get that pre though.
No. Anyway, check out that clip. Someone asked me recently to bugging me yesterday in the gym, saying like, "Oh, I really love watching STS, but can you guys put links to the videos and stuff?" And I did that for one episode a while back, and I just kind of stopped because I didn't think anyone cared. But I will start trying to put little links to things we talk about. I'm not gonna put clips in the video. That's just too much work for me. I'm sorry. This thing is already takes quite a bit to edit, but we're gonna try to get better. We've been talking about ways of improving the audio and the lighting and stuff for this, and where we record it. Right now, we're in the office. Blah blah blah. Check out tomorrow's. Tomorrow, we're gonna put up the edited down NAPC. So please tune in for that tomorrow. If we don't see you, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Have fun in Florida. Hit up Tom in Florida. If you're around, what part of Florida? I don't know my geography. I'm terrible.
Tampa Bay, Florida.
Tell me, are there gyms in Tampa or anything like that?
Sort of, not really.
Are there spots?
There's spots, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's spots in
What
Tampa.
spots? Where are you gonna be?
I'll be wherever people want me to be.
Okay.
Let's say that. USF, maybe training downtown. Downtown's good spots.
Okay. Hit up Tom.
Yeah.
At Tom Jumps on Instagram.
Yeah.
What's your Snapchat?
Snapchat? I don't really use Snapchat. So.
Dom Coppola on Facebook. Hit him up if you were in Tampa to train over the holidays. I'll be here.
All right.
See you guys.